This is the His and Her Money Show, where we talk about managing money, marriage, and everything in between. Now, here are your hosts, America's #1 money couple, Talaat and Tai McNeely.
This episode of the His and Her Money Show is being brought to you by Bluehost. Are you getting ready to launch a business and in need of a website and need some hosting to back it up? Well, use what Ty and I use, Bluehost. Bluehost is a top-notch company, and they have great customer service and a powerful network to get your website off the ground and running with power and precision. To find out more details and to get a discounted rate, you can go to hisandhermoney.com/Bluehost. Again, that's hisandhermoney.com/Bluehost. Hey everyone, welcome back to a fantastic new edition of the His and Her Money Show with America's #1 money couple, Talaat and Tai McNeely, where we're helping you to manage your money, your marriage, and everything in between. Super glad to have you here for this new installation of the show. It's a special show. We're going to be talking with a special lady that's going to help you guys launch yourself to the next level. We're going to be talking with Nicole Walters of NicoleWalters.tv, and she's going to be helping us all learn the art and the science of monetizing ourselves, taking our talents, our skills, and our abilities, and using that in service to create businesses and to set ourselves up for financial independence. We were so glad that Nicole came on the show and shared all of this great insight with each one of us. So let's not delay. Let's get Nicole on so she can help us all monetize ourselves. Hey, Nicole, welcome to the His and Her Money Show.
Hey, Nicole.
Hey, guys. I'm so excited to be here.
We are super excited to have you here because we've been fans of yours for a few years now. So we were super excited that you agreed to come on the show and share your great wisdom with our audience. But before we get into that, can you take a moment and introduce yourself to everybody out there who may not be familiar with who you are?
Of course. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm a big fan of Team McNeely too, so it is my pleasure to be on the show. And for anyone who isn't familiar, my name is Nicole Walters of NicoleWalters.tv. I'm an income strategist, a entrepreneur, and what that all means is that I help people build profitable and sustainable businesses by leveraging corporate strategies for the everyday entrepreneur.
Love it. So one of the many things that you are known for is how you left your job live for the world to see via Periscope. And I actually remember viewing that particular Periscope and I'm wow, it was so, I felt everything that you were saying. It was emotional and it was excitement. I'm like, you know what? I like that girl. I like her a lot. So tell our audience about that video and describe what happened and how did you go about doing it?
Sure, of course. So it is the video that a lot of people talk about. And essentially, I had been documenting my journey live online via Periscope to entrepreneurship, meaning I'd been an entrepreneur for a while, but I was looking to kind of cut the corporate cord and then go full time. So all along that way, I was sharing how I was monetizing my business, helping other people monetize their business, and the hardships, the parts where I was struggling with believing in myself and the moments where I was trying to build more discipline. And also the big wins where I, would have a huge launch and I'd make a ton of money. I was sharing everything online. And the time finally came where I knew that I had to hire myself. And, other people called it quit day, but the reality, I was ready to hire myself. I built a place for myself to go. And I went online and I simply wanted to be honest with my community and say, hey guys, today's the day. I'm super excited about it. I'll come back and tell you how it went. But of course, in all authenticity, my community was like, oh, no, you won't. You will stay right here and you will quit right in front of us so that we can see how it goes. So fortunately, my boss was located in a different state. So I just picked up the phone. I called him and I said, you know what? Today's going to be my last day. I am leaving my 6-figure job and I am going to pursue doing what is not just my purpose, but what I've managed to monetize and help to serve others. So my boss was very understanding and I shared everything and it was viewed by over 10,000 people live and hundreds of thousands of people in replay.
Damn. Now, obviously you're a big proponent of entrepreneurship. It's something that you've taught people to do for years and it's a walk that you walked yourself. Now, you just stated that on your own personal journey, you walked away. It's one thing to walk away from a job. You walked away from a 6-figure job.
Oh, yeah.
Some people struggle with walking away from a 5-figure job. Some people are in between jobs and still don't have the courage to launch out into entrepreneurship. Why do you believe that entrepreneurship is something that a lot of people desire, yet most people do not pursue?
So you're right. I think for a lot of people, they associate and desire the things that they see entrepreneurship as. But then once you actually start doing it, you realize you may be pursuing something totally different. So unfortunately, in the world of, online, virtual, social media, all the things, you get people who call themselves, laptop lifestyle or just a picture of some legs with the background of a beach, right? So you're thinking, boy, entrepreneurship looks great. Why am I not doing that? And it looks awesome, but the reality is the truth of entrepreneurship is long nights and hard work and deep introspection around whether or not you're cut out for this or what you really have to offer. It's battling imposter syndrome, which is basically the inability to realize your own success and struggling to jump forward and leap into your greatness. It's the mental game. And that is the part that I think when people start pursuing it or start looking into it, I think that's what really makes them struggle. I think that's what makes a lot of people not make the cut eventually. So entrepreneurship is something I think most people should try, but the reality is not most people will make it.
I agree with that. So Nicole, what was the hardest part of your pre-transition phase, at the place where you were juggling your day job and building your business at night? What would you say was the hardest part?
Sleep. Right? Sleep, of course, that was a huge part of it. And sleep in the greater picture, meaning my self-care, because it was a season that I knew internally was a season. And I think that's something that for anybody listening, I always try to extend to them, that there's nothing more evident than in entrepreneurship than the concept of seasons, where this is a season where I'm super profitable and this is a season where I am spending to build, or this is a season where I'm still learning and developing, and this is a season when I'm launching. So, the same thing happened in that pre-transition phase where I was just in a season where that was actually about the grind and the hustle. It was about working one job, then stealing a couple hours for myself in order to build my business so I have a place to go and hire myself. And what kept me going was knowing that it was a season and not what it should be forever. And I can't emphasize that enough for those who are listening, that it should be a season. You should be building a plan that is sustainable, that is profitable, and will allow you to not have to live in the grind forever.
Yeah, that's so good. I heard you mention self-care, and that's so important. We follow you on social media, and we see how you're doing amazingly in regards to your health, and you're sharing it. I mean, you're not hiding it. And you look good, girl, okay?
Thank you.
So I'm like, talk about that. I think that's so important. I think you bring up a valid point. I think sometimes you're in a season of, I can even think about that for myself. I have 3 children, and I was in a season of where it was just them, my husband, and my husband, and I wasn't necessarily taking care of myself. Then I realized, hey, I need to be the best me so I can continue to be able to, help my family and take care of my children the proper way. So hit on that. Talk about that self-care a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you guys who obviously can't see this visually, my waist is snatched, okay? I look like I am retiring my Spanx. I am on a mission to do bigger, better things, okay? So first of all, because this isn't a visual situation right now, I'm so excited. I've lost 53 pounds. So, and I can't help but say, like, not only has it improved my life, my marriage, I think I'm a better mom because I have more energy, but it's improved my business. One of the things that I went into 2016 saying was, I need more hours in my day. Now, I know that a lot of people, when they think of weight loss, they don't think about that. They think like, I want to fit into my clothes better. I want more energy. But the truth of the matter is, I can't make 26 hours out of 24. But what I can do is make sure that I'm optimizing those 24 hours that I have. And I knew that I wanted to do more things. And what I found was, because I wasn't feeling great and because I was tired and because I lacked stamina, after about half of the day and after kind of dealing with the kids and cooking a meal, I was exhausted and I was actually performing at a lower level than I was capable of. And that was simply due to my health. And also, once you're in entrepreneurship for a while, you start realizing, gosh, I want to live in this place and I want to serve in my mission and I want to be a great example for my community. And how on earth can I tell someone else that they're supposed to break out of their fear and step into something unknown and be excellent if I can even put down a donut. You know what I mean? So I wanted to live and practice and preach and be an example for my community that was honest and authentic. And that included working on, my physical self. So for the first time in my life, because I've been overweight for most of my life, I approached my weight loss from the standpoint of entrepreneurship. I said, you know what? I'm going to look at my body as the way that I want to build a business. I know it's not going to happen overnight. So I got away from that get rich quick mentality with my body, get thin fast. I know that it's going to be something that I want to sustain. So I'm going to make sure I pick up habits that are sustainable versus a quick launch and feast and famine. I'm going to look at my body and say, what can I do over the long term that's going to work? And in shifting that entrepreneurial mindset to my body and my self-care, I found that I was able to just implement simple habits. Like I'm just going to walk on a treadmill every day for 30 minutes. I'm not going to pretend like I can throw cinder blocks. I'm not going to sit out here and pump iron right away. I'm just not there yet. But what I can do, I'm going to try to do well, and I'm going to try to do it consistently. And sure enough, the weight started falling off. And then when it came to food choices, I said, what can I do that's going to help me be my best self today? There's a lot of little moments that add up to a big decision. And the same thing applies in entrepreneurship. There's a lot of little moments, will you work on this project now, or will you, decide to waste your time and do something else that's not as productive? And the same thing happens every time I pick up a sandwich or I pick up a candy bar. So I decided to let each of those little moments add up. And ultimately, after about 7-8 months, I'd managed to cut 53 pounds. I have just boundless more energy. I've dropped about 6 dress sizes. And I just look so good. I'm telling you, I check myself out in mirrors, okay? If it is a puddle on a sunny day, I'm checking myself out. I feel good. And it's the same way with my business. I can't help but talk about it to everyone because I'm so excited about how well we're doing, the impact we're making. And I encourage anyone to chase that feeling too, because it's available to all of us.
Awesome. You've been doing a great job leading by example. And I remember when we first heard about you a couple of years ago, people were like, man, you got to check out Scopra. I'm like, what? Who is Scopra? And so we found you on Periscope and began to watch you faithfully. And I remember one of the concepts that you kept saying over and over again was that as entrepreneurs, we have to learn how to monetize thyself. So talk to us about the heart behind that concept. Where did it come from, and what exactly does that mean?
Sure. So Monetize Thyself is really just talking about the fact that you are your greatest product. You are your biggest brand. You are the thing that's most profitable in your business. And so before you start talking about, can I come up with an awesome jewelry collection, or what's the dopest, awesomest software? Where's that gap in that marketplace? You want to look and see, what is it that I can monetize within myself? What skills and God-given gifts do I have that I could be leveraging and using to make myself more profitable and help support my family and my business? And oftentimes, because we are entrepreneurs tend to be givers, because frankly, entrepreneurship is not fun. So you only are in it if you're really interested in helping impact the world, right? Because it's hard. So because we tend to be givers, we're often looking at externally like, well, I want to open a nonprofit, or I want to do other things. And that often tends to lend itself to doing things for free, or doing things at a lesser profit ratio than you should, or just setting yourself up to build a business without looking at your overhead and wasting money and all these things. When if you start with monetizing yourself, it's amazing how effectively you can generate income without spending too much. So some of the simple low-hanging fruit of where I tell people to start in the concept of monetizing yourself is affiliate income. If you are monetizing your word, working as an affiliate, giving recommendations for brands that you love, you are already monetizing your word. That is something you do anyways. If you love something, you tell someone about it. So for instance, Target has an amazing affiliate program. And we all know that we all shop at Target like crazy. I mean, I go in there for an avocado and I come out with a couch. That's just how it works, right? And then, of course, we're always really excited to tell someone we got something from Target, because they'll say, that dress is so cute. Where'd you get it? And then you're like, Target. And they're like, what? You know what I mean? So knowing that that's the reaction, drop an affiliate code in there. Get monetized. You're going to wear the clothes anyways. You're going to tell your girlfriend about it. Why not get paid for it? And that simple concept of monetizing yourself, can help you fund your dreams. It can help you fund your nonprofit, or it could be a business in and of itself. So once I get people thinking that way, they realize everything can be monetized and you don't have to do free.
So Nicole, what would you say? How has social media eliminated the gatekeepers when it comes to entrepreneurship?
Sure. Well, yeah. I mean, I think that is something that's still happening in progress. It's interesting because in social media for the longest time, it was either an edited version that people got you, meaning that on YouTube, they'd be watching and it would just be like, a series of videos that you may have edited or cut down or a portion of it. Or in Instagram, you're getting these carefully curated and well lighted photos. Or on Facebook, you're getting something that I typed and, it's copywritten and all that jazz, and all that still exists. But what's happening now with the advent of live streaming and the popularity of live streaming is that you're losing that gatekeeper experience. You're losing that wall, that barrier between the real deal people, and your consumer and your audience and the people that used to have to break through in order to get there. And you're able to build the know, trust, and like factor faster than ever before. I mean, frankly, if I'm doing a webinar and I'm talking to you guys about balancing being a mom and also being an entrepreneur business owner, it doesn't get more real than when you see my 6-year-old run streaking by from the bathroom to the laundry room, and it's like, hey, real life, this is what it looks like, and I think that sort of relationship is really benefited, those of us on the selling side of entrepreneurship, because people get to know us a little better. It benefits us because if our competitors aren't as authentic, it gives us a little bit of leverage and helps emphasize our visibility. And then for the consumer side of it, they can trust who they're buying from a little more, because you can see so many more sides of the people that you're working with and realize that, yeah, you know what, that person's a real deal and I'm comfortable working with them because there's no gatekeeper anymore. It's just me and you.
Such great advice. And I love how we've been building on the philosophy and strategizing. And I want to get into the nuts and bolts of building a brand. And we're going to get into that with Nicole Walters right after this commercial break.
Have you thought about starting a website or blog, but didn't know where to begin? Well, Bluehost is the solution to all your website needs. Hosting over 2 million websites worldwide, we get people online, including you. We're so confident. Here's what we want to offer: a free domain name when you purchase a hosting account, 24/7 support from our in-house trained experts however you need it, and over $150 in offers to help you grow your platform with Google, Bing, and others, all for as low as $2.95 a month. Wait a minute, is that less than $3? Yep. Bluehost, providing you with affordable, reliable web hosting solutions. Get started today by visiting hisorhermoney.com/Bluehost.
So Nicole, you are giving us, tons of insight and wisdom. I know I can hear the pens writing notes as we speak. And I want to talk now about brand building, because one of the things that I've heard you teach over and over again, because for a lot of people, they have a great heart in that they have this idea that they know can help people. And they have this service, maybe business, that they know would help people get to one point to the next in their life. But we have to be careful with that, because you're still building a business. And one of the things that you teach is not just focusing on building a brand that serves, but also a brand that is in fact profitable. So how do you avoid, if you have that heart, that servant mentality that's real strong in your life, how do you avoid the trap of just being popular and ensuring that your brand is profitable as well?
Sure. Boy, it's probably the number one thing that comes up. We all are out there doing free all the time. And the term I use is doing free, meaning, your girlfriend calls you up and she's like, girl, you design a great party. Can you come set up this baby shower for me? And before you know it, you've done an 8-hour day. You've invested money at the dollar store, and you also worked as wait staff, DJ, and cleanup crew, and you're wiped out like you worked a full job. But in reality, your bank account doesn't reflect the effort that you put out. And the thing about it is, sure, there's nothing wrong with blessing your friends, blessing your families with your gift. But at the end of the day, once it turns into a pattern, once it becomes something that you're recognized for, you're now engaging in a business, but getting paid like it's a hobby. And unfortunately, a lot of us don't recognize that some of our greatest gifts and our abilities we deserve to get paid for. And the trap of being popular, the trap of looking good online, but not actually generating any coin from it, usually comes from the number one thing that I fix with people's business. And I'll be happy to share with your audience now is you have to give people a place to deposit their money. So one of the things that happens is, you haven't even created a place for people to go and put that money if they're interested. You don't have a website. You don't have a payment processing system. You don't have a means to collect money if someone wants to give you money, and especially if you ask for money. So if you set that up first, it's an easy solution. Give people something to buy and a place to invest in you if they love what you have to offer.
So good. So one of the things that I love about you after, watching so many videos is that you are authentically yourself. I was rolling when I was watching one of your, I believe it was a Facebook Live video where you were talking about the moms on the bus stop. And I'm like,
oh my gosh,
that is so real, because I was just telling my twin sister prior to seeing that video, I'm like, I'm so happy that I'm the only mom on this bus stop because I'm probably wearing the same sweatpants, from yesterday. I'm like, I don't have to compare myself to others. I don't have to get all fixed up. And I love how you were just being you, and people love that. So talk about the importance of that, of just being who you are.
Sure. So I think that one of the things that I know is always my greatest differentiator, because we're all trying to be visible and stand out in the market, right, is the fact that I'm me, right? No one can Nicole Walters better than Nicole Walters, So let me get out there and be myself. And frankly, it's the one variable in my business that I don't want to have to manipulate, and I don't want to have to control. Everything else is, does this copy work? And should I segment my email list differently? And what about this, idea validation process? And this beta test. I mean, there's so many things that we're constantly testing and tweaking to try to make sure they're right for our audience. You shouldn't be one of them. And I'm excited that when I meet people in person and they're like, oh my gosh, you're just like you are online. And I'm like, yep, I'm a hot mess 24/7. That's not just online, that's real, like I'm a disaster, And I think that when you're building a successful brand and you're able to be authentically you and kind of strip away all the extras, it just gives you freedom to when you're building an authentic brand and you're able to just be yourself and strip away all the extras, it allows you to be consistent. It allows you to still have that joy. It allows you, as your brand grows and develops and evolves, to realize that it's still about you and it's still about how you want to use your gifts to serve others. And that keeps you in entrepreneurship for the long run.
A lot of people have ideas in their head that potentially could be a business. How would you coach somebody like that who's stuck at business idea and begin the process of moving them to actual business?
Well, that's great. So many people get stuck there because of perfection paralysis. Whenever we're really invested in something that's at the heart of our gift and our talent, we will get stuck kind of chewing over and over it because we're like, we don't want to launch this until it's right, or we don't know if this is good enough. And a lot of our mindset things will keep us from pushing forward to success. So the first thing I always try to kind of reframe for people is that the last step of creating your business is actually launching your business. Because if you don't actually put it out there, you can't make it perfect. You need to get that user feedback. You need to see how people utilize and apply your content, your information, your gift in order to make it its best. So if you're sitting around saying to yourself, gosh, I don't know if this idea is any good, well, start doing it. Reach out to 2 or 3 friends and form what I like to call a beta group and test the idea on them. Say, hey, I've got these cookies. They're delicious. I'd like to make them. And if you're willing to try them and give me a testimonial and, tell 2 friends that you love them also, that'd be great for me. And it would let you kind of refine what you have and get it ready for the wider audience.
So why is aligning your business with your purpose important?
Wow. You know what's funny? This is probably one of the most random hard questions I've ever gotten, just because I couldn't imagine not aligning a business with my purpose. I mean, I've worked so hard in corporate America, giving countless hours to someone else's purpose, that I just am fiercely aligned with never ever working against something that aligns with my faith, doesn't align with my family and doesn't align with my greater mission in this world. So I think that those are the things that make it really important. Family is first for me. Family is my most important thing in my whole world, aligned with, my desire to glorify God in everything I do. So I can't imagine having a business that didn't support, encourage, and nurture those two things. And I think that whatever someone's purpose is, your business should serve you just as much as you're serving others. Partly because you want to stay in that space for as long as possible. You want to have a business that thrives and continues to impact, for years. And then lastly, because, we're all only blessed to be on this earth for so much time, and leaving a legacy is so, so important. So if your business isn't aligned with your purpose, you got to work on that, because that is easily the most important reason of why you're doing it all.
Now, you not only coach people that are trying to start out in business, but you also coach current entrepreneurs, those who have recently launched out. What is your advice for entrepreneurs to help them avoid burnout?
Oh my gosh. So, wow. That is so, so real. I started off in entrepreneurship and I was super excited about it. I mean, I just quit my job. I did it on the internet. I'm making all this money. I'm like, this is great. I'll never want to leave. I didn't even know when burnout what came. And I didn't know because I'd never pushed myself that way before. I'd never given all of myself to anything. I mean, in corporate, I was, a top performer and I was doing great. And I was an executive at like 26. I mean, I was doing great, but I wasn't giving them my everything because it wasn't my purpose, right? It wasn't my thing. And when I hit burnout, it was, and I say all this so that those listening who may not know what burnout looks like can kind of identify if this is them, or if they see the signs of it coming, they'll understand the consequences of it. But I was tired. I was working a lot of hours. I was lacking balance. I was spending way more time with my business than I was with my family, which is out of alignment with my purpose and my key priorities. I started making silly mistakes, meaning I was sending an email without documents attached. I was, picking up the phone and I didn't have the right person's name on the phone call, just things that tend not to happen to me. I found like I was just dropping the ball. I found myself searching for words, which, as you guys can see, I'm a talker. So like that was crazy. Like I was like, how am I fumbling? And I felt like I lacked mental clarity. And then on top of all that, I was tired. I was kind of short-tempered, and all these things. And little did I know that was what burnout was. And I got to the point where I actually made a mistake on a client account that was, for me, it was very severe, where I was just like, oh my gosh, this was a deadline and I thought it was tomorrow. And I was burnt out. I was just completely burnt out. I had nothing left, and I wasn't bringing my best self to the circumstance. So my biggest advice to avoid burnout is recognize the signs and then take the time. Recognize the signs and then stop what you're doing and take the time. Now I've automatically built in at the end of every single quarter a 4-day time period where I will take what I like to call a self-care sabbatical, where I don't have to travel to Cancun. Look, anybody got Cancun money all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what all these people are saying, but it's not all let's rent up a yacht on the south of France. Like, no, my business needs to be sustainable, please. So no, and so it's like sometimes the self-care sabbatical is renting a room at the Holiday Inn, and ordering takeout and just watching movies for 3 days, where you aren't anybody's anything. You aren't mom, you aren't wife, you aren't the business owner, you are you by yourself, taking time to get clear. And in doing that, you come back to your business and you're better than ever and you're more successful than ever. So see the signs of burnout, make sure that you address it, and take the time out to get it right.
I love that, Nicole. Hearing you say that, I can see where you can apply that to everything. There was a time when I too can say that I was on burnout. And so that's something that I started to adopt with my family is that when my kids are off on vacation, let's say it's a holiday, they're off for the week or just a few days, mama is off. That means, we got takeout. I don't have to cook. Like I don't have to do anything, and my husband is aware of that. The kids are aware of it. And it actually gives me, just enough days to kind of reboot, get myself together and go back out there. So I love that, what you said. That's such sound advice. So how has your faith made you a successful entrepreneur?
So because if God didn't want it, it wouldn't happen, right? So that's the first part of it. But, I am a faith-forward entrepreneur. And I say faith-forward because there are a lot of people that say faith-based. And my business isn't based on faith. Like I'm not, people aren't coming in and I'm not training them to be, minister within the work they do. However, it's faith-forward, meaning where I stand. Like I'm a Jesus girl, and that's just what it is. And I build my business around that. So I'm not bashful about it. I'm not weird about it. I'm not sitting around trying to, convert souls, even if I am trying to be the light, but that when I work with you or your business or in any aspect whatsoever, that what I'm doing is from a place where I answer to something higher than the dollar. And so I think that that's helped make me a successful entrepreneur, because I do things and I'm not leaning on my own understanding solely. I'm taking the knowledge and experience that I have from years working, a decade working in corporate, as well as countless, results from working with clients. But then above all else, I'm praying on it and I'm asking God for guidance, and I do everything I can, and I let my faith fill the gaps. And I found that not only does it give my clients a peace, because they're able to say, look, this is a girl with, even if I have clients that are atheists and Muslims, and, I have clients that are, ancient art healers, that are just completely out of alignment with my religious background, but they're definitely in alignment with my purpose. And all of these clients say, look, we just like that you're about something, that we know where you stand, and we know that you're going to be straight up with us because you're doing things for the right reasons. And then on a personal level, having my faith has allowed me to never ever feel like I'm not enough, because I believe that I'm completed in Christ. So if I show up and I don't feel like I can bring my A game, or I've studied and I just kind of have a little bit of a freak out that I'm going to fall up short, well, because I have faith, I know that I'll always be enough. And finding that completion in a place outside of my business allows me to operate as a more complete person in all aspects where I show up. So I think that that's going to be huge for my success in the future.
Nicole, speaking of not enough and that feeling, if there's somebody tuned in who heard your advice and they have a desire to be an entrepreneur, but they're just not sure if they have what it takes, how would you encourage that person?
Sure. So, again, as a woman of faith, one of the my favorite Bible verse is 1 Peter 4:10. And the reason why I think this is so powerful is because whether or not you are a person of faith, this phrasing I think is so huge and impactful and powerful. And I think we all can connect with it. But each of us has been given a specific gift, and we are supposed to use these gifts to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. So I believe strongly that each of us has a unique gift, and that unique gift isn't necessarily that I'm an amazing dancer, or I sing like Beyonce, or I have beautifully exfoliated skin. These things might be gifts in and of themselves, but your unique gift is your experience. You are the only person who's ever walked the journey that you've ever walked, and you've come out the other side with a wealth of knowledge that you aren't supposed to take with you. You're supposed to teach everything you know. So in that gift, the way that you're supposed to interact with this world and this planet is to use it to serve others, so that we are all propelled forward by learning and leveraging from your experience. So knowing that you have an obligation, a duty, to a calling even, to use that to serve others, to show gratitude for the life that you've been given. And I think that if that isn't encouragement, if that isn't fire to get to it, I don't know what is.
I agree. I'm fired up. So, Nicole, for the people out there who are ready to take their business to the next level, how can they connect with you?
Oh, that's perfect. So if anyone wants to get in touch with me or find out more about where I'll be speaking or how we can work together, you can head to NicoleWalters.tv.
Awesome. Nicole, this has been super incredible and enlightening. So Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on the show and share your advice with our audience today.
Thank you, Nicole.
Oh, it was a blessing to me. It was so much fun. Thank you for having me.
Wow, that was packed with information and nuggets of wisdom to help you launch that business, that dream that's been on the inside of you, that's been laying dormant. You haven't been putting it to use, or maybe you haven't been maximizing it. Now you have some tools and you have some resources, and you have the person of Nicole Walters that you can lean on to help you grow and expand that dream into a reality. So be sure to check out Nicole over at NicoleWalters.tv. Catch her on social media. She does a lot of great content that'll help all you all with that entrepreneurial bug on the inside of you to start to grow and start to increase and start to make progress. Here it is. No matter where you are on the road to financial freedom, the key is to start now and finish strong.
Thanks for tuning in to the His and Her Money Show. For more information on how to win with your finances, be sure to visit www.hisandhermoney.com.